other words, every single time I call near, running away from it, the distance that you see of the same sound generation, the pitch is further apart compared to the what? The pitch here. In other words, frequency increases as the sound travels towards one direction, while frequency decreases while you are going another place, away from the sound. Hence the reason why if you turn on a siren in a fire truck, when you're sitting in the fire truck, does the sound change? No, the sound is exactly the same, but from the observer on the street, is the sound different? Yes. When it's coming towards you, you hear it as a high-pitched sound. And when it's going away from you, you hear it as a low-pitched sound. And this is called the Doppler effect. Everybody understand that? So, Doppler effect. But what did Doppler say? He said, I can take my effect and do what? Run fast enough, and what happens? The two sounds collide. Dangerous or not dangerous? Why is it dangerous? Because the two sounds collide? Because when the two sounds collide, you call it a what? A sonic boom. Sonic booms, is it destructive?
Yes.
Does it kill you?
Yes.
Really?
Bust your eardrums.
It busts your eardrums. Can it just do breaking your eardrums?
No, that has to be done.
No, it can actually level you. You can disappear. How do you know? What's a sonic boom that's created? Remember, a nuclear bomb, when it explodes, are you dying because of radiation immediately? No, you're dying because of the sonic boom that it created. And what does it do to all the buildings and everything alive? It just spreads out and destroys and makes them all explode. Because the energy that they generate is so high. So, sonic boom. Have you ever heard it? What do you call it? The most common sonic boom.
What about Panasonic?
The supersonic.
Supersonic, that's right.
Yeah, they create sonic booms, and hence the reason why we don't use them anymore.
Okay.
Not because we don't want to go to Paris in 4 hours anymore. It's not because after 9/11 that we stopped. We stopped them way beforehand. Why? Because sonic boom is very destructive. How destructive? What was the common sonic boom that you know of? It's called thunder. That's a sonic boom. So when thunder is really far away, you still hear it, but you don't know anything about it. But when the thunder is really next to you, what happens to your building? It actually rattles. Why? Because it is fierce energy that is created. So what's another sonic boom that you know of? It's called, lightning is the one that causes what? The sonic boom. Because lightning is moving through the air at what speed? What is the minimal speed to achieve sonic boom? You have to travel about 660 miles per hour. So lightning traveling much faster than 660 miles per hour causes a sonic boom. Hence the reason why most airplanes travel at what speeds? Remember taking a plane?
Yes, travel fast.
No, most planes that you know travel around 550 miles per hour. Why did they set it at that? Because they don't want to create sonic booms.
So what about the supersonic?
Supersonics went beyond that speed, and hence they created a lot of sonic booms. Hence the reason why we don't use them anymore. Why? Because no airport wants them around. It's not the airport, it is the people that live around the airport. And their houses keep getting what? Shaky, and they get destroyed. Hence the reason why guys around JFK was the cheapest housing areas, only because Every time planes came along, they rattled the walls, and you always have cracks on the walls. So, sonic booms, can you create that with your hand? Sure you can. You call it a what? You call it a whip. When you take a whip and you spin it, what happens? The edge of that is going around 660 miles per hour, and therefore, you can snap a whip in the air, and that little energy that you just created is a sonic boom. That is a low energy sonic boom, so therefore when you get hit by it, does it really hurt? For you it does. It can actually cut you. So what is Doppler saying? He demonstrated this against who? All the kings and queens in the world, and said what? I have your next weapon. It's called the sonic boom machine. So, Mendel had a problem with this. Why? Why? Because at the time, who can create sonic booms? God can. And if you're going near the destructive power of God, you may be elevating yourself up as a God. And therefore, this was a taboo in all of the religious studies. And hence, Mendel said what? I'm no longer studying under him. Why? Because if you went against God at the time, what happened? You got killed. In fact, 300 years before him, not even 300, 200 years before him, a monk was killed at the stake, burned alive, for a reason. His name was Bruno. Why? Because he said what? The sun was at the center of the universe. A notion that we know today, but what? He was burned at the stake. And he was called a heretic for coming up with these stories. So, Mendel, fearing for his life a little bit, said, this is a great scientific discovery. It's an excellent mathematical concept. But for me, I'm going where? To the monastery and living my life very quietly. So he went to the monastery. And then he became a what? A guy who grew pea plants. Why? Because the brethren needed to eat. But he saw something. What did he see? That if you grew pea plants, one grows very tall, one grows very short. The tall one obviously has what kind of peas? Very large peas. The small ones have very small peas. What's the difference? The big pea was filling, but it tasted better when it was smaller. Smaller peas were tastier, but these guys were more filling. So what did he want to do?
Something in the middle.
Sure, he wanted to make something in the middle. So you can get what? Medium-sized peas that are tastier, not as tasty as the small peas, but tastier than the big fat ones, and it's bigger than the smaller ones, so you are more full. This was his idea. Was it a crazy idea?
No.
No, why? Because at the time in Mendel, what happened? What was the knowledge of genetics? Or knowledge of growing these things? The understanding of genetics at the time was what? You take a white flower. And you take a what? Red flower. When you mix them, you get pink. Was it true? Sure. You could do this 1,000 times, this experiment. And you take a white flower and a red flower, you always get pink. And the church sanctioned this and said what? This is the concept of blending. Blending is good, they said. Why? Because if you take a sinner non-sinner. You mix them together, what do you get? You get half a sinner. And if you take that half a sinner and then you mix them up with another non-sinner, what do you get? A quarter sinner. And then eventually you can do what? Wipe out the sinners out of existence. Good concept for the church. Hence the reason why, when you are always a child of your parent, they said. Because blending was the concept. So this is what Mendel wanted to do. So what did he do? He actually did it. He took some tall plants and then crossed it with some short plants. What did he get? Did he get a medium plant? No. He got some tall plants. He said, sure, some tall plants here anyway. How many short plants came out of this? 0. How many medium plants came out of this? 0. It was 100% tall. Was this a problem for him? Yes. Means that what? When you have a sinner versus a non-sinner, one of them will win. And therefore, the sinner could win. A big problem for the views. But he's a mathematician originally, so he said what? Maybe this was a fluke. It happens, right? You can have a kingdom of God, and an angel you raise will come along and do what? Challenge you for your position. And you called it Lucifer. Was there evil in the kingdom of God? No. So clearly, some anomalies will occur, he said. So how many times did he repeat this trial? He repeated the trials 10,000 times, and what happened? Always tall. That's what you call diligent work, writing it down 10,000 times. How many times do you complain?
So you were tall and tall. Did you try that combination?
Yeah, they always got tall. When you got short and short, they always got short. But when you got tall and short, you got tall. And then they did what? So Mendel said, okay, I get it. I don't know why. I'll label this as P1 because this is the parent generation, because he's always into labeling things, because he's a mathematician. So he understands how things work as a theory. So he labeled these guys as F1s. Why? Because F stands for what? The filial generation. What does filial mean? Filial is the Greek word for? Not the first. Not the son. Or else we would not have the word filial son. That means son. It doesn't mean the father, no. You use this word a little bit today. You call it fidelis. What does that mean? It's a faithful child, the filial means. Hence the reason why you may not have heard it. It means the faithful child. So the one that is closer to their, genes. If your parents were good, you should be what? Good at the same time. So if you weren't like that, then you would be called a filial child. But obviously, you never followed that rule, and hence you never heard it. So, what happened? He took two F1s, these two tall ones. He got it from the F1 generation and mixed it. What should you expect? Tall. What did he get? He got some talls. How much? No, a little bit greater than half. He got 75% of them to be tall. And then he got what? 25% what? Short. So this is a big problem for him.